I think AI is a big topic at the moment, but I'm going to say this, and I always say this, and I'll say it again. If you are not adapting to the AI environment, you are going to be left out. AI will never replace people, but you need to be able to adapt to the AI world in order not to be left behind. There is people online that is $1 million a month coaches because they understand this and because they are embracing AI and looking at ways for them to incorporate that into their own business. For me as well, I have been in the online business for the last almost a decade. I do physical implementation for clients. So it's actually physically writing content, creating graphics, coming up with strategies. The moment when I was able to properly incorporate AI into my business, I am able to do triple the work in half the time, opening up my capacity to really step into the spaces where I am really, really needed. So I'm not saying we are just going to be robots just doing all of this. It's like Megan said, our genius is still the thing that is actually making this business alive and staying alive and being what it is. But we must be able to adapt to the AI environment in order to stay on top of all of that.
Women, this is a business podcast like no other. It is time to turn on your body, your life force, your eros, and your mission. It is time to tune up the volume of your voice and your message. Let this podcast be a permission slip and a portal into the next level of expansion in your business and the next upgrade in your personal brand and body of work. I will bring to you feminine leaders, way showers, and disruptors who are doing business differently. I hope you enjoy the episode.
Hello, everybody. We are back with another behind the scenes episode. I am here with Presence Media's lovely operations queen, Joline O. And we are going to be riffing on the topic of systems today. Before you tune out, because systems is sometimes not a sexy word, right? But let's really speak to it in this is your spaciousness. This is simplicity. This is how you get to operate your business from a place of embodiment and alignment. And when people come to us at Presence Media, often it is because they want to step out of the weeds of their business. They want to be out of the day-to-day grind so they can truly step into their zone of genius, their medicine, and focus on pouring that into their business. And to be fair, and we've witnessed this through like tens, hundreds of people, when we are able to fully go all in on our genius and our medicine, and often that looks like holding space for clients or being in, the creation mode or really just, fundamentally connecting and aligning with the highest frequency of your mission, right? And so when we're in the weeds of our business, we're focusing our attention on the day-to-day tasks at hand. And it's very hard from that place to embody the essence and the frequency of the highest expression of the mission. And so to be in both places at once is very tricky. And even to move between two places, between those two places, and like switching gears can be tricky. So people hire us so they can be in their genius, and we are able to support them in setting up systems that create that space for them. So really that's what we're here to talk about. And Joe, we were just before we hit record, we spoke about the masculine and the feminine of systems. So do you want to speak more to that and what that actually looks like in the work that you do supporting clients?
Mm-hmm. Of course, and absolutely. So, I think in the space, the current online space, and I think we had a discussion about this as well previously on another podcast, but there's a big thing going on in the online space about female entrepreneurs just wanting to run this amazingly feminine business. And we're not saying that that is at all not possible, and that is at all not what we stand for as well. I mean, we are also in a feminine business. We also, live by the principles of that, and we embody that as much as we can. However, something that we need to realize is that we do need the systems, which is the masculine part of the business, in order to support us so that we can embody the feminine more. And let's face it, when we are as business owners in the weeds of systems and structures and trying to figure out how to send this email and how to have this automation work, we are actually operating in our masculine way more than what we actually have capacity for in the feminine. So I think that is something that we want to just bring about, to say that the systems and that masculine part of your business is absolutely the side that is going to support you in order to flow in your feminine. And usually we have clients coming into our spaces where they don't want to be in that space, and that is why they then delegate tasks. And I think that is a big part of running a successful feminine business, is being able to see the gaps, to open up the space for delegation so that the systems and the structures and the strategies and everything can take place in order to support you to fully step into your feminine. And that means fully step into the things that you really want to do. You're not doing things because you have to and there's nobody else to do it. You're really stepping into your power. You're really holding the energy, and you're really showing up in a way that feels true and authentic. And the moment when you do that, I can promise you, and Megan, you can agree with me on this, is that is where you will attract clients like magnets, because they can feel your energy, they can see how you are embodying what you are saying, and that will automatically bring in more people. And we know the more people we have in our network, the more people we have on our list, the better opportunities we have to make sales at the end of the day in the business. And everything, in my opinion, starts with having the systems in order to support you to embody your work and put the amazing things that you have to share with people and the world out there. So that's my take on the masculine side of the business. It is a necessity, absolutely.
Yeah, and I do want to talk in a minute about just some examples of the systems that you put together and that you see, so people can really apply that to their business model and their offer suite. But first, I just want to address like the magic of magnetism, like you said. And, we speak about this in Body of Work Foundations, and it's all about like your niche is a frequency. And so when you are actually an embodiment of the transformation that you deliver and that you teach in your business, it creates something we call resonance. And this is also explained in like the law of thermodynamics. And it really is like this field that you create where people that are in resonance, like vibrational, parity or similarity, will be drawn to your message, your word, your voice, your work. And it's much easier to be in that magnetic state when you are not worried about all of the details and the tech stuff and like all of these pieces that will, cock block you ultimately from being in alignment in a lot of cases, unless you're a tech person and you get off on that kind of stuff like Joline does to some degree. But can you give us some examples of, like what systems are you talking about when you speak of systems? Like what are these structures that can really provide like that banks of the river, if you will, of an online business to support women in being more in their feminine magnetism?
So for me, I think the most important system that any online business owner can have in their business is automation. And we hear the word automation, being, it pops up all over the internet and all over. But what does automation actually mean? Automation actually means that there's a system running on the back end that does all the work for you. I always explain it like this, like you must be able to sip cocktails on the beach while your system is doing the work when there is
Or
people
cacao if you're non-drinking.
So when there's people asking for links to your office, asking for ways to work with you, if you want to bring people into your system, that's a big thing. That's a big another system. Is like, what is your lead generation system in your business, and do you actually have one? When we work with clients, the biggest thing that usually pops up is it is scary to see how many online business owners and coaches and consultants does not even have a lead magnet system. You must be able to bring people into your business every single day. And if there's not an automation that's going to do that for you, what are you going to end up doing? You're going to end up sending links manually to people via DM. You're going to be manually engaging on social media. You're going to be manually bringing the people into your system. And that is what we want to eliminate. We want to eliminate the time that you are spending doing all these manual tasks where there's systems that we can put in place for you that does that. So definitely the first thing is your lead generation system, bringing leads into your system while you don't have to do anything. Emails going out to people when you want to, there's nurture sequences, there's sales sequences. That's another topic for another day as well. And then also, as I said, like, what does your customer journey look like? If you have someone that wants to work with you now, what automation is running on the back end so that they can make a payment, get the info that they need, book a call on your calendar if that's part of your journey. So that is the automations, and that is the system specifically that we speak about. And then over and above that, there's so many other systems that you can have in place. Like if you're launching, there's a launch system. If you are, once again, as I said, a lead generation system, there's a sales system, there's an onboarding system. So there's so many moving parts to this. Even if you can just implement half of those systems to start off with, it's already going to make so much space for the things that only you can focus on. And this is another thing I want to touch on quickly as well, is that there's a lot of things that people can do for you that you can delegate to a team, but there's just as many things that a team will never be able to do for you. And you need to make sure that you open up the space, that you are present for those things that no one else can do for you. In my opinion, that is like holding the energy for your vision. If you are launching, making sure that you're in the energy for that launch. In my opinion, a big part of social media content and the voice and what you are putting out there is also a big energetic thing that a team will never be able to do for you. So yes, there's a lot that we can do and a lot that the systems can do, but if you don't have that in place, you will not be able to open up space and make, have a presence where you can actually do the things that only you can do in your business.
As you're speaking, I'm like noticing like contraction in my system, and not because what you're saying is absolutely true, but as a business owner, right, that can feel like a lot. So yes, we do like showing up and embodied in the energy of, our transformation and this is just like a kind of a sidestep here, but also what I see is so many people showing up on Instagram like it's their paid job, like every time they post, like expecting there's going to be a ROI, or they're expecting they're going to get something, and like really just creating that belief code and that paradigm of reality, which is such a boxed in, look at business. So I like what you said about the energetics of posting content, the energetics that you hold when you're launching are so important. And then layer on top of that, having a lead generation system, having like content automation or content repurposing, like it can feel like a lot. And often when I speak to feminine leaders and spiritual entrepreneurs, like they are almost in this like freeze response or this avoidance, and they know that these things are necessary, but because it's just like contracting to them, like they don't want to figure out their lead generation process. A lot of them may not have the budget to be able to delegate to a team. So they're kind of in this like holding pattern of doing what they feel is in their capacity. But what is required to scale and to provide that spaciousness so that, we don't need to be like working on our businesses all the time is these systems. This is part of the reason I'm really stoked about Body of Work Foundations, because I feel like it is a very simple process to move people through, and you're going to be speaking about systems and we'll have resources to support people in, setting up these foundations. But it is important, like these things can't be overlooked. If you have an online business and you're choosing to go all in on your online business, these can't be overlooked. And so let's talk about lead generation a little bit more, because this is a big one, right? Like, I see marketing kind of as 3 steps. There's the awareness, there's getting your word out there. Most of the people we work with although, you know, they desire bigger audiences in most cases. Like, it's always nice to have like a bigger engaged audience. That's what everybody wants. But that content creation side of things, most people that work with us, they have that. They understand how to create content for the internet, for the channels that they're on. Yes, there's usually some tweaking in terms of like how they're using their energy and spending their energy to create content. Like, we're such an advocate of long form, focus on long form, like pour your medicine into long form content, then repurpose the content across your channels. And a lot of that is your systems, right? It's your content systems. It's automating some of these things. But once we have the content out there and we're like sharing our message and really pouring into that, then it is important to have that lead generation, these funnels in place to move people from the awareness stage into the consideration stage, where they're actually opting in, they're coming into your email list, they know who you are. This is where we get to warm them and move them into the offer suite, and having, you know, different price points from like a low ticket, tripwire, whatever you want to call it, into a higher ticket. Like, that's typically how we would structure these offer ecosystems. But can you speak, Joe, to like the systems that we would typically set up for a lead generation funnel, and how people can apply that to, you know, their business, those listening right now? Body of Work Foundations by Presence Media is starting soon. It's time to return to your foundations, your roots, your body, your essence, and your truth, and build a body of work that changes the world from the inside out. Body of Work Foundations is a culmination of my nearly 20 years in the online space, supporting hundreds, if not thousands, of successful feminine leaders and descending into a body-based way of being in business. Don't be fooled by the word foundations. This is not a business 101 or basic business program. This program will challenge the most fundamental aspects of you. It'll bring you to your knees, sober you to what is, and require you to face all your worldly fears. It'll ask you to stand in your power and meet resistance and discomfort as your physical reality shifts around you, creating space for your new body of work to emerge. It will require difficult decisions and hard conversations. For this reason, we have brought in a support network of teachers, some of the best somatic practitioners and energetic workers of our time, to guide you back to your foundations, the roots of who you are and why you are here. If you're ready to build your body of work from a rooted place of truth, get on the waitlist for Body of Work Foundations and receive exclusive pricing for when it launches later in June. This program is self-paced and includes 7 core teachings and dozens of supplementary teachings and practices to descend you into your most pristine and potent body of work. All the details are in the show notes.
Yes, so obviously with the lead generation funnel, like most of us know, is bringing people into your list. And just like I said previously, you need to be able to bring people into your list every single day. Even if it's 5 people, even if it's 3 people, even if it's 10 people or 100 people, doesn't matter. As long as there's new people coming into your funnel all the time. And just like Megan explained it is a funnel. It looks like this. So the biggest part of your funnel is where you bring new people in as much as possible, and that is either through a free resource. It can be an ebook, it can be a masterclass, it can be a video series, it can be an email series, where you just share value with your audience and share value to bring people into your funnel. By doing that as well, you are also introducing yourself to the people, especially a cold audience or someone that has never heard of you before. That is the first impression and the first contact that they have with you. So if that is a great experience, it's even better and easier for them to move down the funnel, where we then have nurturing. We have, we nurture them through email sequences. We basically psychologically prepare them for the sale that you're going to make at the end. But the nice thing about a lead generation system that I love so much is it can still bring you income on the back end. Because let's say you are now creating a free resource, and we've done that for a couple of clients the last couple of weeks, and it has been doing so great. Is let's say you bring in 200 people, you put out a lead magnet, you have 200 people signing up. Now, on top of that, a thank you page now can turn into an upsell page where you have a very low ticket $7, $17, $27 offer to lead them to the next step. And already with that, you're probably not going to make millions. However, there is people making millions with low ticket offers, but then you have to have the masses. But what's happening in this process is we are now qualifying the people through your lead magnet, through your low ticket offers for your high proximity containers. So that is the beauty about this. If you set this up correctly, and if your customer journey is being set up in such a way that can qualify these people, then, sales at the end of this funnel, in my opinion, is not going to be a sales call. It's just going to be a call to make it a formal partnership and them giving you your credit card, if I can call it like that. You don't have to then jump on a call and try and convince someone, and have people like, oh, maybe this is too expensive, have objections. If your funnel is set up correctly, if your messaging is pulling through that funnel, if you are nurturing constantly, then that sales transaction is just going to be a formality. And that is the stuff that makes your business easier. That is the stuff that opens up so much space, gives spaciousness, opens up so much presence, so that you can then step into serving these people that just came into your funnel. So I love a lead generation funnel. That's always something we start off with. And even if it's businesses that has been established for quite some time, we always go back to that, because we always need new breath and new people into your system. And this is the easiest way that we do that.
Yeah, this is foundational. And so if you're listening to this, and I think most people have tried it, they've experimented, and what I often see is they try something and it doesn't work right away, and so they pivot to something else. And I feel like it does take some time to test and really know what is gonna sell, but it does take then, committing to a period of time and going all in. And that's what I would say to somebody listening is like, really figure out your offer ecosystem. Like, what is the signature offer that you want to be known for? And this could be like a one-to-one container. It could be a mastermind. It could be a certification program. It could be an evergreen program. But just figure out what that is. And then from there, you can kind of map out what are the steps to get there? Like, what are the prerequisites? And that will help determine, okay, what's the free thing? And then what is the next logical add-on, whether that's a resource or a guided meditation? What is the next low ticket offer on there that will lead to everything? So it's all meant to be very coherent and harmonious. And this is a big part of Body of Work Foundations too, is mapping this out, your offer ecosystem. And then we like to start with, the signature offering, and then what is going to lead people into there. And then in many cases, there's like high ticket, high proximity in there. Some people's, they don't have as many steps. It's like literally we're funneling people into a sales call to sell something. So it just depends on your business, but it is really important to understand what the offer ecosystem looks like, and then we can design the funnel. Did you want to speak to that at all?
Yes, I think something that we need to remember, and this is not something you said, like sometimes clients will create a free resource, they'll put it out, and there's crickets. Like the thing about a lead magnet and that whole funnel, it's really a matter of rinse and repeat. It's not a matter of trying and now, have to come up with a new resource or trying to be in creation mode all the time because this thing that you put out is not working. There's so many things that can have an effect on that, but this is absolutely a rinse and repeat process. And another question that I also want to ask, because this is also something that we see a lot, especially for social media. I think the biggest thing for social media and putting out our offers and putting out things like this is that consistency on social media is always a challenge for so many of us. I mean, we have the energy, we go full on for a week, we post every day, and then slowly but surely we we go back to not posting or really showing up. Well, that's definitely my pattern, and I see that with a lot of clients as well. So what happens in that process is now we think, okay, we have a free resource or we have a low ticket offer, and now we go onto social media like crazy. What does your audience feel? They feel like the only time that you are showing up is when you want to sell them something or when you have an offer. So we need to make sure that this is a big ecosystem, like Megan said. It's not just about taking a lead magnet, putting it out there. It's reverse engineering from the high proximity container or the offer that you eventually want them to buy into, and now reverse engineering and deciding and determining how are you psychologically going to prepare them for the sale and the journey that you are about to take them on. So in my opinion, for a lot of clients that haven't done this before, is just start nurturing your audience on social media. Show them behind the scenes, create relatable content, create, content that can show a part of who you are so that they can relate. Because then the moment when you have a free resource or the moment you have something to sell, they will be warmed up to you already. So don't think that you create this, you put it out there and there's crickets. There's maybe a reason for your social media behavior that has an effect on all of this. So it's absolutely a rinse and repeat system. It doesn't mean if you're putting something out there and you're not getting enough signups that it's not working. And I ask this to so many clients. I always ask this, like, if you are putting out a resource and there is 20 people signing up in a span of a week, that is 20 people that you never reached before. That is 20 new people coming into your audience. How long is it going to take you to make 20 in-person connections and just maybe giving a resource out to someone in person? So see it like that. Yes, we like the masses, we like the numbers. It's nice to say I had 200 signups or I had 300 signups. It's nice to see that, but it's not in our world or in mine, it's not about those metrics. It's about how many of those people can you convert, how many of those people are actually your ideal client, and just creating the space and the presence and the spaciousness for you to show up where needed while these systems are running in the background. So there's actually a lot that we can say about this. There's so many things that we can touch on, but it doesn't mean if you're putting it out there and you're not getting signups that it's not working. You just have to rinse and repeat the process.
Mm-hmm. And I think it does require some self-awareness too. Like if you're listening to this and you've been in business for a while and you've noticed your patterns with social media and we all, and this is a whole other podcast, just, the digital space and these platforms and how much energy and life force we want to give them, right? And if you have noticed that you've had an online business and you're unable to be consistent and you don't really want to give a behind the scenes look at your life and kind of be a slave to the algorithm, we have clients that are expert at it and it does not impact their energy. Like they love sharing their voice, they love sharing their life, and they're just really great. And so, and I'm speaking to Instagram because most of the people we work with, like Instagram is their primary channel. And so if that is you and it's natural for you to show up on social media and you can do it consistently and you don't mind just sharing your life, like that's going to be a really good, like top of funnel way to grow your audience. If you know that you're not going to be consistent on social media, you don't really agree with it, you don't want to share behind the scenes, because like Joe said, if you're just showing up to sell things or share like call to actions, it's not going to work. It really, like Instagram only works when you are really showing your life and connecting to people like at a real like soul to soul, human level. Then when you do have sales and you weave in sales content, it will do a lot better. So if you're like, nope, this isn't for me, then I would consider, first of all, what is the long format platform that you're choosing? So maybe it's a podcast, maybe it's YouTube, maybe it's a Substack, or you're going to be writing. And then what is the way that you want to engage people online or in person? It doesn't need to be showing up every day on social media, but it definitely it is important to be speaking to new people and connecting to new people and telling them about what you're doing. So yeah, something to consider. And then there's ads too, which is a great option for those that are just like, nope, I want to completely automate things. And then it's, okay, well, let's get this offer ecosystem designed. Let's set up this funnel and let's crank the ads up. And that is a really great way. I don't know why ads have had a bad rep. There's a lot of like feminine leaders that are like, oh, I don't do ads and really, really proud of that. But I don't know, like I'm in a season of life. I'm like, I don't really want to be on social media a lot. Like ads are a great way to just like crank up that funnel while I'm present with my family and doing great things in my life. And so if you're listening to this and you're like, I don't want to be present and show my face online, ads are potentially a really good strategy to consider for your funnels and as a system to set up.
I
Yeah.
agree. I agree with that absolutely. Like, I think the bad rep with ads, and this is once again another discussion. I think the thing with ads is like it's also the expectations. So people think that you're spending X amount of money and there's guaranteed results coming from that. Once again, it's a process, and you have to go through the right ads strategy and the right ads process. Once again, a masculine system in order to see the return on investment. So if it's done correctly, it is an absolute blessing in any business. It's the quickest way for you to get eyeballs on your business than trying to do this organically. The organic landscape on socials has really changed a lot, and it's ever changing and always changing. So ads is definitely a solution if you don't want to show up online.
Yeah. Yeah. And that brings me to just this very simple formula that I like to speak about. I didn't come up with this formula. I think it's just in the interspace, but I feel like it's a good way to think about your online business if you do desire greater simplicity and greater, time embodied in what truly lights you up and oriented to what truly matters. And that's the process of eliminate, automate, and delegate. And so the first step, eliminate, is you don't need a budget to do this step, right? You don't need any tech skills to do this step. So it's always a really great place to start. And to me, that elimination step is, it's more soul searching. It's more coming into like the truth of how you desire to show up online, the truth of your body of work, what you're here to do, and an honest look at everything that you're doing that is not serving that, and eliminating those. And this is actually, like, when it comes down to this experience, it can be very confronting. It can be very, this is kind of almost stepping into the void in many cases. It's having the presence and the ability to look at what is and unattaching, like unhooking from all of the ways you think it should be, all of the things you think you should be doing, all of the offers and everything, and like removing that, stepping back and looking and being like, what's working and what's not, where am I being called and what am I being asked to release, and really being in that process for a day, a moon cycle, a menstrual cycle, whatever amount of time, and then making a plan to eliminate what is not working and to really focus on the 20% that is working and going all in and expanding into that. So that's the first step that I would say if you're listening to this and you do desire more simplicity in your business. It's like, well, what is not working? Let's eliminate, what feels expired, and let's orient towards where you're being called inside your body of work, and look at what that business model is really asking. Did you want to speak to the elimination stage, Joe?
Yes, I think that's important. It's something that I went through the last couple of weeks. And that's an initiation on its own. But we all go through that, and it's really sitting. And, for me, I usually get the moment I start feeling irritated, or I start feeling, certain feelings towards something that I'm doing, I know that season is done. And I really have to sit and, almost take stock of what's happening in my business. What is the things that I really, get lit up about? And that is the stuff that I need to focus on. And as I said, it's an initiation on its own, but it is so freeing, because I believe it's all part of the journey. It's all part of, growing into that person that can hold all of it. All of us want to be there. We want to be the person that can hold all of that. We don't always have the resources and sometimes the finances to do that, but this is an amazing way to really eliminate the stuff that is just piling up dust and not really, I don't want to say it's not having a purpose. It had a purpose, but it's now time to move on to the next. So it's an initiation on its own, but it's such a freeing experience to go through as well. And sometimes we don't do that. Sometimes we just continue and think, you know what, let's just do whatever we've done, and let's just continue. Let's not give up, but we need to make space, and we need to be in a presence where this is actually part of what we do consistently and constantly, because everything is changing all the time.
Yeah, you're right. And I think it's something that should be integrated into how you work in your business all the time. Not to be said, it's like, let's eliminate the thing that's not working the moment it doesn't work. It's
No.
more just really being attuned to what is present in the field of your business, what is alive in your body, and using that information to release and to let go. And this could even be clients. This could even be, eliminating who you're working with and the type of clients. And we are always being asked to evolve our body of work. And this includes the people that we're trying to work with. And so instead of hanging on or doing something that feels expired, it can be very confronting to really be like, all right, I need to let go of this. Like, I'm being asked to step into something else. And when it comes down to relationships, that can be really tricky, but it is so necessary to just have that somatic awareness, have that presence to what is, and be able to make those hard decisions that align you greater with the truth of your body of work, who you are, and where you're being called to go.
That's so
Yeah.
true. It's not nice,
Yeah.
but it's so true, and it's needed. It's absolutely
It's
needed.
necessary. Yeah. And then, okay, so the next step is the automation. And I think we spoke to this pretty well already. But once we are really clear on our business model, our offer ecosystem, the frequency of our body of work and what that looks like, then we can start looking at how do we simplify everything by setting up these automations. And that is your funnels, that is, scheduling your content, that could be ads, that could be just like workflows, and even maybe we speak to AI a little bit here, because with the evolution in AI and AI agents and being able to really employ technology to take on a lot of that like manual work, now is the time to really lean into these platforms. And that's not to say AI is going to replace us, like having it there. Like, our genius is what our business and our body of work is asking for. But like, automating using these technologies and AIs is going to and continuously going to be such a beautiful way to create space in our businesses. So do you want to speak more to that, Joe, and how we're using AI and just some different opportunities there for automation?
Yes, I think AI is a big topic at the moment, but I'm going to say this, and I always say this, and I'll say it again. If you are not adapting to the AI environment, you are going to be left out. AI will never replace people, but you need to be able to adapt to the AI world in order not to be left behind. There is people online that is $1 million a month coaches because they understand this and because they are embracing AI and looking at ways for them to incorporate that into their own business. For me as well, I have been in the online business for the last almost a decade. I do physical implementation for clients. So it's actually physically writing content, creating graphics, coming up with strategies. The moment when I was able to properly incorporate AI into my business, I am able to do triple the work in half the time, opening up my capacity to really step into the spaces where I am really, really needed. So I'm not saying we are just going to be robots just doing all of this. It's like Megan said, our genius is still the thing that is actually making this business alive and staying alive and being what it is. But we must be able to adapt to the AI environment in order to stay on top of all of that. So once again, a whole topic for another discussion, but there's a lot that can be said. AI will never replace you. It's like we said, like delegating to a physical team or delegating stuff to AI. It will never be able to replace you, because you and only you have that genius and that energy that the world needs. Just find ways to open up yourself more, to bring your energy and your body of work to the world more, instead of getting lost in the weeds and the daily things in your business that might not be moving the needle forward. You and you only can move the needle forward in your business.
Yeah. I think it's exciting. And again, this is a whole topic for another time, but I think AI is really allowing us to do what we came here for. and to be a support ally in that. And we can look at the utopic or this dystopic version. Both timelines exist, and I will always choose the highest timeline. And in that timeline, we really get to use these technologies to curate, to support us in our missions, essentially. So yeah, automating. And then we'll get to the last one, which is delegating. And this is, really important. And this is, why Presence Media exists. And that is, when you get to a certain level in your business, what can you hand over to experts to just support in the scale of your business? And this is where quantum leaps can really happen. And so, for us at Presence Media, we really see our clients as partners, and we really see just genius connected to genius. And that's how things really do move at quantum speed or God speed. And so delegating is not, something that sometimes delegating can be more triggering than valuable if you're not in a financial place, if it does not feel safe to your nervous system, if it doesn't make financial sense. And so, Joe, do you want to speak to, how do you know if it's time to delegate in your business, or, if you're not quite at the stage of delegation, what is the best way to get there, or where can you start?
That is a tricky one. I will always say the best way to start, and I always ask this to clients as well, what is the thing that is taking up so much of your time and the thing that you hate the most? That is where you will start delegating. That is the first thing that you will actually start delegating. It can either be through a VA, it can either be through, it's usually a VA. So that's the first question that I always ask. I think the second level is where you get to a stage in your business where inside your heart, your soul, everything inside you is screaming next level. It's screaming elevation. It's screaming expansion. And in order for that to happen, that you cannot do it alone. So that is when you are now ready for a team. The one thing that I can say, and this is sometimes, we see this a lot, is that you have to be, it's like Megan said, because it can bring on its own stresses when you are working with a team. You have to be ready to support a team in your business. I can't say to you what is going to make you ready. I cannot say what is going to prepare you. I can't say what is the thing that is going to be that, okay, now you're ready. But if you do not have, once again, at least foundational things that in your business, a team will not be able to do that for you. And I'm talking about foundational stuff like who's your ideal client? What is your brand positioning? Who are you talking to online? What does your brand, your visual element of your brand look like? Some people have been in business for years and they still don't know that. They're still trying to figure that out. So bringing on a team is going to do that for you. You have to have the foundations. Otherwise, it's just going to be a back and forth because team cannot figure this out for you. You are the only one that can do that. So the first thing is...
That's like a mentor or a coach. I think if you're kind of in that stage, that's a mentor or a coach.
Absolutely. So definitely delegating tasks is the one thing that's taking up most of your time and the one thing that's irritating you the most. And the second level is where you are ready for more online business support, project management support, things like that, is you are ready for the next level and you cannot do it alone. That is where that level of support will come to play in your business. And then there's other things like social media. If you hate social media, but you really want a social media present, you really want to stay consistent, there's social media managers that can do that for you. If you really want to do a podcast, but you don't know the editing part of it, you don't know all of those things, there's teams that can do that for you. So determine what is the stuff that you really, number one, maybe cannot do. Maybe you've been spending so much time in trying to figure out to build a funnel or a landing page and you're just not into it. That is the type of support that you will then delegate. So that is, it's a lot there, but that's where I'll start.
I love these episodes. This is just fun. I love marketing and business nerding out with you. And this is what we see every day. This is what we're talking about when we meet in our personal meetings. This is our world when it comes to our body of work. And we're so grateful to be able to share this with you. And both Joline and I are all about supporting the women that are really here to create change at a fundamental level on planet Earth at this time. It's a very big mission, and if you're listening to this, you're one of those women who are also here with a big mission, and so yeah, we're here to support you in moving that forward in whatever way we can. All of the links will be in the show notes on how you can find us, how you can work with Presence Media, Body of Work Foundations. And yeah, we just hope you got some value from this podcast. We will see you next week.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode, and thanks so much to another amazing guest. If you love this episode, please make sure to subscribe to our channel. We are committed to producing weekly episodes to turn you on and tune up the volume of your voice and impact in the world. I would love to stay connected. You can come and follow me over on Instagram at The Grounded Visionary. Or if you're interested in learning more about the services we provide at Presence Media, check us out at www.presencemedia.co. See you next week.